The relationship between the United States and China is one of the most important in the world. These two nations, with their vast economies and significant political influence, hold the power to shape global dynamics in profound ways. What happens between these two superpowers will shape the 21st century. Their interactions will influence global trade, security, and even the environment. The stakes are incredibly high, and the world is watching closely. Understanding this complex relationship is crucial for everyone, from policymakers to business leaders and even ordinary citizens. Grasping the nuances of US-China relations can provide valuable insights into the future of international affairs. We need to examine the challenges and opportunities that lie ahead. The relationship is multifaceted, involving economic ties, military considerations, and cultural exchanges. Each of these aspects presents its own set of challenges and opportunities. This essay will explore the future of US-China relations. We will delve into the historical context, current dynamics, and potential future scenarios. By doing so, we aim to provide a comprehensive understanding of this vital relationship. We will look at the history of the relationship, from the early days of diplomatic engagement to the pivotal moments like President Nixon's visit to China in 1972. Understanding the past can help us navigate the future. We will also examine the current tensions and potential areas of cooperation. Trade disputes, technological competition, and geopolitical strategies are just a few of the issues that define the current state of affairs. It is a relationship marked by both cooperation and competition. While economic interdependence has brought the two countries closer, strategic rivalries and differing political ideologies often create friction. Both countries are deeply interconnected economically. Trade between the US and China amounts to hundreds of billions of dollars annually, affecting industries and consumers in both nations. This economic bond is a double-edged sword, fostering collaboration but also leading to disputes. However, they also face growing mistrust and rivalry on the world stage. Issues such as human rights, cybersecurity, and territorial disputes add layers of complexity to the relationship. As both nations vie for global influence, the world watches with bated breath, hoping for a balance that promotes peace and prosperity. Today, the US and China are tied together in a complex web of economic and geopolitical interests. Their relationship is multifaceted, involving cooperation and competition on various fronts. Economically, they are deeply intertwined, with each country relying on the other for goods, services, and investment. This interdependence has created a situation where both nations benefit from their economic ties, yet it also makes them vulnerable to each other's policies and actions. China is America's largest trading partner, with billions of dollars worth of goods exchanged annually. This trade relationship supports millions of jobs in both countries and provides consumers with a wide range of products at competitive prices. However, the sheer volume of trade also means that any disruption can have significant economic repercussions. Goods flow between the two countries every day, from electronics and clothing to machinery and agricultural products. Yet, tensions are high. The economic interdependence is accompanied by a growing sense of rivalry and mistrust. Both nations are wary of each other's intentions and actions, leading to a complex and often contentious relationship. The US is concerned about China's growing military power and its assertive actions in the South China Sea. This region is a critical maritime route for global trade, and China's activities there have raised alarms about freedom of navigation and regional stability. The US has responded by increasing its military presence in the area and strengthening alliances with other countries in the region. Disagreements over trade practices and intellectual property rights have led to tariffs and trade disputes. The US has accused China of unfair trade practices, including forced technology transfers and intellectual property theft. In response, both countries have imposed tariffs on each other's goods, leading to a trade war that has affected global markets and economies. Technology has become a new battleground. Both countries are investing heavily in research and development to gain an edge in emerging technologies. This competition extends to areas like semiconductors, quantum computing, and biotechnology, where technological superiority can translate into economic and military advantages. Both countries are competing for dominance in areas like artificial intelligence and 5G networks. These technologies are seen as critical to future economic growth and national security. The race to develop and deploy these technologies has led to significant investments and strategic initiatives by both governments. The US has raised concerns about Chinese tech companies and their potential security risks. There are fears that Chinese companies could be used for espionage or to disrupt critical infrastructure. As a result, the US has taken steps to restrict the use of Chinese technology in its networks and has encouraged other countries to do the same. This has led to a broader debate about the role of technology in national security and the need for international cooperation to address these challenges. To understand the present, we must look to the past. The relationship between the United States and China has always been complex and multifaceted, shaped by a myriad of historical events and geopolitical shifts. US-China relations have gone through various phases, from initial contact to periods of intense cooperation and, at times, severe tension. The dynamics have continually evolved. In the 1970s, President Nixon opened relations with China. This historic visit marked the beginning of a new era, breaking decades of isolation between the two nations. This was a time of Cold War rivalry with the Soviet Union. The US saw an opportunity to counterbalance Soviet influence by engaging with China, a strategic move that reshaped global alliances. For decades, the relationship was primarily defined by engagement. Economic ties grew stronger, with both countries benefiting from trade and investment. The US believed that fostering economic interdependence would encourage China to adopt more liberal political reforms. The US hoped that economic liberalization would lead to political opening in China. During the 1980s and 1990s, China underwent significant economic reforms, transforming into a global economic powerhouse. However, in recent years, China has become more authoritarian under President Xi Jinping. His administration has tightened control over various aspects of Chinese society, from media to political dissent, signaling a departure from the anticipated political liberalization. This has led to a shift in the relationship, with growing rivalry and mistrust. The trade war initiated by the US, coupled with increasing geopolitical tensions, has further strained the relationship. Both nations now view each other with suspicion, navigating a complex web of competition and cooperation. Military buildups and territorial disputes, particularly in the South China Sea, have added another layer of complexity. The strategic rivalry is not just economic but also military, with both nations vying for influence in the Asia-Pacific region. Technological competition has also intensified. Issues surrounding intellectual property, cybersecurity, and the dominance of tech giants like Huawei have become flashpoints in the US-China rivalry. Despite these tensions, there are areas where cooperation is still possible. Climate change, global health, and other transnational challenges require collaboration between the two largest economies in the world. The future of US-China relations remains uncertain. As both nations navigate this intricate relationship, the world watches closely, understanding that the outcome will have profound implications for global stability and prosperity. Several key issues are driving the current tensions between the US and China. Trade is a major point of contention. The US accuses China of unfair trade practices, such as intellectual property theft and forced technology transfer. Human rights are another area of friction. The US has criticized China's treatment of Uyghur Muslims in Xinjiang province and its crackdown on pro-democracy activists in Hong Kong. These differences in values and ideology make it difficult to find common ground. Section 5. Seeds of Cooperation, Shared Challenges, Common Ground. Despite the challenges, there are areas where the United States and China share common interests. Climate change is a global threat that requires cooperation from all countries. Both nations have a role to play in reducing emissions and investing in clean energy. Global health security is another area for potential collaboration. The COVID-19 pandemic highlighted the interconnectedness of the world. The United States and China could work together on pandemic preparedness and response to prevent future outbreaks. Section 6. Charting the Future, Dialogue, Diplomacy, and Deterrence. The future of US-China relations is uncertain. Some experts believe that a new Cold War is inevitable. Others argue that competition can be managed and cooperation is still possible. Dialogue and diplomacy are essential for managing this complex relationship. Open communication channels can help to prevent misunderstandings and reduce the risk of conflict. At the same time, the US needs to maintain a credible military deterrent to protect its interests in the region. Section 7. The stakes, global stability and the balance. The stakes in this relationship are high. As the world's two largest economies, the US and China have a responsibility to work together to address global challenges. A stable and constructive relationship is essential for global peace and prosperity. A world in which the US and China are locked in conflict would be a more dangerous and unstable place. It would undermine international cooperation and make it harder to address shared problems like climate change and pandemics. Section 8. The importance of understanding. It is crucial for people around the world to understand the complexities of US-China relations. This is not a simple story of good versus evil. Both countries have legitimate interests and concerns. By learning about the history, the challenges, and the potential for cooperation, we can all contribute to a more informed and nuanced discussion about the future of this vital relationship. Section 9. A call to action towards a more stable future. The future of US-China relations is not predetermined. It is up to leaders and citizens in both countries to shape the relationship in a positive direction. We must move beyond simplistic narratives and embrace the complexities. Let us work towards a future where the US and China can coexist peacefully, compete fairly, and cooperate on shared challenges for the benefit of all humankind. The world is watching, and the stakes are too high to fail.